What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Wednesday, October 25th. My name is Ewan, and on today's episode, we're going to get into some F1 fantasy with a Mexican Grand Prix preview after a chaotic COTA Grand Prix in Austin. It was, not going to lie, this is a hard video to record because it went disastrously for my team in Austin. It did not go well. I've had both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc on my Limitless chip. So while my aspirations of a high finish in F1 Fantasy 2023 may be over, I hope that I can help you over the next 4 races get as high as possible. As you can see there, right down in the corner, I am now barely inside the top 9K. I was one of the lucky ones where I went to sleep right after the Austin Grand Prix was done. It was about 11 o'clock here in Germany. I went to sleep feeling good. I kind of checked the live scores on f1fantasytools.com. That was great. Kind of calculated my score. I was like, okay, I was sitting at like 3.5K going into Sunday's race. I was like, that's probably a pretty good boost. Woke up, disaster had struck for Alonso. Yeah, so now all the way down here, not great. I was watching Pop Pan Man F1's YouTube channel this morning, and he did an excellent kind of in memoriam disaster tales roundup of COTA. So you should go check that out as well. I had a good chuckle. It was a little cathartic, made me feel not so alone down in the depths of F1 fantasy turmoil after what happened when Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc both got disqualified. Unfortunate, yes. Do we move on? Yes. So let's get right into it. But before I do, if you could just do me a favor and like and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, F1 Fantasy Premier League. I started putting out some YouTube shorts this week, just as quick reactions to the Grand Prix and game week. So check those out as well. But yeah, let's get right into it here. With a quick roundup of the results, it was a sprint weekend in Austin, obviously. Charles Leclerc on pole. Max Verstappen had some issues, got his lap time deleted in Q3, so he was starting 6th on Sunday. Sprint, not as big of a problem for Max. He comes first, Lewis 2nd, Charles 3rd, Lando 4th. And then in the race on Sunday, Max kind of worked his way through the field. There was possibility that Mercedes could have caught Max. We'll never know if Max was just kind of like holding on for the win kind of thing. Like he never really was pushed. Mercedes was looking good there for a while. Would have been even more disastrous if Lewis took home the win and then got DQ'd. That would have been brutal. But Lando moved up to 2nd, Carlos 3rd, Sergio 4th, George 5th, Pierre Gasly 6th, Lance Stroll 7th, Yuki Tsunoda 8th, Alex Albon 9th, and Logan Sargent with his first F1 driver point in 10th in his home race in Austin, although he does have 3 home races each year now. So good timing by him. DNFs for Ocon and Piastri after their lap 1 collision, and Alonso eventually had to retire his car as well. And DQ, haven't had to put that down there on the results list at all this year with Hamilton and Leclerc. Austin Grand Prix facts and stats. Optimal team here was based on a $137.5 million budget. It was Red Bull McLaren with Verstappen ×2, Norris, Perez, Sainz, Tsunoda. That would have gotten you 377 points. Curiously enough, though, AlphaTauri would have only, if you had replaced McLaren with AlphaTauri, that would have only lost you 2 points and you would have had 375 points. Lance Stroll had a fairly strong weekend after a rough stretch of form for the Canadian here. 13 positions gained, 11 overtakes in the weekend, and then fastest pit stop were McLaren, Alpine, and Ferrari. Podium man, Lando Norris got driver of the day, which at the time I was a little dubious of. It would have been interesting if like Lewis or Charles not Charles, he got pole and finished 6th, but if Lewis won the race and got driver of the day, would he have kept those 10 points? I guess we'll never know. But Lando qualified second, finished fourth in the sprint, second in the race after the DQ, didn't gain any positions, had 3 overtakes and 46 fantasy points. That's his personal highest score of the season. That's his third Driver of the Day award, tied with Max, and his fourth consecutive podium and sixth in the last 9 races. Personally, I thought Max drove a really good race. He probably could have had driver of the day. I mean, Lando started second, finished second, or was actually going to finish third and still got driver of the day. Max started sixth and came in first. So that was one of the few times this season where I haven't really agreed with the driver of the day. But regardless, it was great for Lando and great for those that played the extra DRS boost, which I'm about to get into here. Just going over the disqualification drama one more time. It happened after the race, obviously. It was a floor issue. Leclerc and Hamilton deemed to not have enough of a plank. It's supposed to be 10 millimeters. I believe that they can get away with 9 in the regulations, so it must have been less than that. So yeah, broke the rules, got DQ'd. Not a lot of debate about it. Just kind of sucks. Just terrible timing for those of us that use the Limitless chip. First DQ in F1 since the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, according to the slight research that I did. Sebastian Vettel getting DQ'd in that instance. My team here, 289 points. Use the Limitless chip. What you gonna do? Right process, bad results. And that happens a lot in fantasy games. That happens in fantasy Premier League, happens in fantasy football, baseball, basketball, whatever you play, you've had something like this happen before. You've just got to brush it off. I'm doing my best to brush it off this week. And it's good. It's getting better as the week goes on. I honestly was dreading prepping for this video just because it was so sad. But like I said at the top, luckily I didn't get a chance to see where I would have been globally before the points deductions. I just kind of woke up on Monday morning, looked at my phone, and I was like, "Uh-oh, that's not good." Yeah, so massive gap was closed in my home league, only leading by about 20 points now. So that's not great. But yeah, Max came through. Great job by him. George was okay. Lando was good. Red Bull was fantastic. But yeah, what could have been there? We'll never know. Just wanted to get into, a lot of people were choosing between extra DRS and Limitless. It worked out for extra DRS. The team on my left here is the guy that closed the gap on me by 99 points over the weekend in my home league. So he extra DRS boost on Verstappen, 2 times Lando. I did see that Tom on his F1 channel, he 2 times Lewis, which was a great call, just didn't work out, unfortunately. But yeah, George in there, Piastri with a -20, just tough luck there. But overall, good for extra DRS managers as long as they went with the Verstappen Norris. Even if you went with Perez, it really wasn't that bad of a time. But a lot of us have Piastri, so that would have hurt regardless. But yeah, looks like the extra DRS guys won this round. Although Max did not do as well as he did in Belgium or Austria, actually, for the extra DRS boost. But still, taking home a sprint win, taking home the race win, that's kind of all you want from Max. Qualification woes a little bit, but he gained those points back in the overtakes and positions gained. So good job by the guys that used the extra DRS boost. Race info for the Mexican Grand Prix preview. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 4.304 kilometers, 71 laps. That's a lot of laps. 17 corners, 2 DRS zones, and it is just past, or it's the 60th anniversary of the first Grand Prix here. If I can do math correctly, yes, I can. Whew, that's good. 2022 results here. Qualifying was Max, George, Lewis, Sergio, Carlos, and then Valtteri Bottas in an Alfa Romeo, if you can believe that, after this year's form. Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, and Esteban Ocon. In the race, George was passed pretty quickly by Lewis and Sergio, and it kind of just stayed that way. Max was never challenged. Sergio was trying to gain on Lewis. I believe Lewis went onto the hard tires, and it held up for Mercedes. But these results indicate that Mercedes could be a good team to go towards this weekend if you still have your Limitless chip. Might be a strong weekend to go there. It's a classic schedule, just 3 practices and a qualifying. So you're going to get lots more data than the rest of us have gotten with these sprint weekends. So definitely a positive to a regular weekend is the extra data you will get on Friday. Make sure to check out the F1 practice debrief. I didn't update the following the data this weekend, but I will on Twitter on Friday night whenever I see it Saturday morning. Follow me at you in or you out. I'll post that and kind of the stats that go along with that. But in the race, it was Max, Lewis, Sergio, George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc. So Ferrari also good there. DNFs for Alonso and Sonoda. Sonoda actually got taken out by Daniel Ricciardo. I was watching the highlights this morning. Schedule here for the Mexican Grand Prix: free practice 1, free practice 2 on Friday, Saturday with another practice, and qualifying. So lineups are going to lock at 3 p.m. Mexico time, 10 p.m. London time, and 5 p.m. East Coast time. So make sure you get your lineups in there. I was actually thrown off by how far behind Mexico City is compared to the East Coast. Had to double check it, triple check it. Also, when it comes to Sunday, us over here in the European continent, in the UK, our time falls back on Sunday. So make sure you don't miss the start of the race there either on Sunday for your viewing pleasure. One more thing I want to point out about the schedule. Pop Pan Man F1 Tom on Twitter, he said, I just wanted 3 normal practice sessions to help pick the optimal fantasy team. Sad face. This is from Pirelli Sport. Mexico also gives us the chance to try out a new variant of the C4 with all the teams. During the 2 hours of free practice on Friday, each driver will have 2 sets of these new prototypes to use as they wish. So that could throw a little bit of a spanner in the works for our data analysis, but hopefully F1.com will come through with their practice debrief. There'll be some simulations out there. We can check all that out. But with it being in the Americas at this time of year, there should be some good weather, but we're just going to go check it out here on AccuWeather really quickly just to verify. So right now, rain for the first few days here, Thursday, but Friday, 48% chance of rain, morning shower in spots, otherwise increasing amounts of sunshine. So not too bad there. Saturday, 2% chance of rain, 78 degrees. Very nice. And then Sunday, 2% chance of rain, 77 degrees as well. Not sure what that is in King's English. Should get better at converting that. I will try to do better with that moving forward. And now moving back to the race preview here. Let's see. So chip strategy, what we have left so far is going to be, I've only got 2 chips left. I've got the wild card and the autopilot left. Thinking about using the autopilot in Brazil if the weather is kind of wacky. And then the wild card for Abu Dhabi. And as I'm just kind of going to throw caution to the wind right now. I mean, 8.5K. It's not bad. Like, I wish it was better. Everyone does. Even though I think Tom is like in the top 150 in the world, he still feels hard done by. I do understand that. I think he was 7th after the actual Austin Grand Prix. So good job by him. He's still having a great season. So definitely go check out his YouTube channel as well. But 4 races left. Depending on what chips you have, final fix you can kind of just use situationally. Extra DRS boost, I would maybe, you could use it this weekend if you have it. You obviously want to use that on a sprint weekend, but with Brazil, it could be kind of tricky with the weather. So if you can get an early forecast before lineups lock on Saturday for the Mexican Grand Prix with like what's going to happen in Brazil the following weekend, and it looks like it's going to be dry, I would save the extra DRS boost for that. I would save your Limitless chip for Brazil. I would, yeah. So it's really, if you have extra DRS or Limitless, I would save them for Brazil as long as you check the weather just to make sure that it's going to be kind of a dry weekend. Extra points, extra time for that. No negative, autopilot. I'm gonna use autopilot in Brazil, like I said, just in case something wonky happens. I'll definitely try and get a Mercedes driver in my lineup for that. And wild card, end of the season, just throw caution to the wind. Maybe I'll take Max out of my team just to see what happens, try to fit in a bunch of heavy hitters and see if I can make up ground that way towards the end of the season. Um, I'm not trying to say that I'm gonna put my season in the tank or anything like that, but with the small likelihood of making like the top 3K or the top 1K at this point, it does kind of open up the driver pool for me to kind of make some weird decisions, test some stuff out. I'm just like Haas or AlphaTauri. Like I'm just testing stuff for 2024 at this point. So we will see how that goes. But we will get into my potential transfers here. Let me just share my screen one more time. Here we go. All righty, here we are. Just make sure that looks all right on the screen here. Should be good to go. Here we go. Here we go. Right there we go. Look, yes, 8,500. Lovely. Not super fun. L1Z. There we go. Manage team. So what I've got so far, this is what I had in Qatar before Austin. I had Max, Carlos, Lando, Oscar, Sonoda. So I got Yuki's 1.0 price rise. I got Lando's price rise. Oscar, that's okay. McLaren and Red Bull. I've only got zero point 0.2 in the bank, so I really don't have a lot of wiggle room. So if I only take out Carlos, I actually can't go up anymore. I can't get to George. I can't get to Sergio. So it means I need to create some space for my team. It could be as simple as taking out Red Bull and putting in Mercedes if both of their drivers look good. I'm assuming their floor is going to be legal this week, guys. And then that would allow me to get Sergio, George, that kind of thing. But I don't need to do that if I get rid of Yuki. I can actually get up to George quite easily if I take out Yuki and I put in. So let me put in. I can even put in Sergio, and that will leave me with the choice of Nico, Daniel Ricciardo, and Logan Sargent. I know you got your first F1 point last week, Logan, but I'm not going there ever again. Daniel didn't look too bad. Nico, Haas upgrades. Let's see 3 practices of data that could be encouraging there. Maybe their tire wear isn't as bad. So certainly a spot I could go to there. That was 6.4. Yeah, if I go down to George, I don't think that gets me anywhere else because there's only 0.2 difference between those guys now. Yeah, 6.6. Yeah, I can't get anywhere else. So if I wanted to get, so if I do this, could be a week to use a wild card here for me as well if I'm trying to get crazy. If Ferrari looks good, Red Bull looks good, and Mercedes doesn't, that would leave me 11.5 here. That could probably get me Mr. Alexander Albon. Yeah, so kind of lots of options. I could play the wild card, make 3 changes here, but I think probably the most sensible thing to do would just, if I can maintain some sense of patience, and maybe there's a miracle I can make the top 5K this year. Just bringing in Sergio, getting rid of Carlos, and then probably Nico. This is probably what I'm looking at, just early doors right now. Obviously, there's 3 practice sessions for us to go through this season, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It could be one of the, after the chaos of Austin, it might be kind of nice to have a semi-normal F1 weekend. It's been a couple of sprints. We're in the middle of a triple header here, so uh, definitely a little bit of calm would be appreciated on our side as F1 managers. But here are the upcoming races. So we've got the last race of the triple header here, Brazilian Grand Prix, another sprint weekend. Then we got a 2-week break with a Saturday race, and the times are all out whack. I think it's actually better for Europeans to watch the Las Vegas Grand Prix overnight. I think it's like a 7 a.m. start for me on Sunday, 6 a.m. for Britain. So definitely Thank you, F1, for that, but not so great for the American viewers. So yeah, they have a Thursday practice, Friday qualifying, Saturday night race. So definitely, I'll get into that on the next in a couple of race previews time, but just keep that in mind already. And then the next week, it is the final race of the season. There's only 4 races left. Kind of crazy, if you ask me. And one final time for lineup locks this Saturday. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had a Saturday lock, so just watch out for that. You don't have to lock in your teams on a Friday anymore. Local time 3 p.m., UK time 10 p.m., and US Eastern time at 5 p.m. But hopefully that helps you out a little bit. If you are still having a strong season, good job by you. Congrats. Hopefully this helped a little bit. I will post a YouTube short on Monday morning, just kind of a 60-second, like, what am I calling it? 3 pit stop reactions to the Mexican Grand Prix. So I'll check that out just on Monday morning, and then I'll have a race preview next week. But yeah, once again, you can like and subscribe to the channel. Would super appreciate it. Just past 100 subscribers. Very uh, appreciative of everyone's support so far this season. We are getting down to it here. 4 races to go. Kind of crazy. Austin was nuts, but we move on and we learn for 2024, depending on what kind of changes the game brings. But follow me on Twitter at you in or you out. I'll be tweeting out all weekend. I'm going to Hamburg this weekend, so I'll be kind of just chilling, watching the race. Mexican Grand Prix should be a lot of fun. Checo should have the home crowd. More likely not going to bring him in just for some hometown fun. But once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.